Hello, you're welcome. You're welcome onto my channel today, and it gives me great joy to observe you viewing this video. I am Dr. Olayinka Kole. I am a sociologist. I am a researcher. I'm a public speaker. I am a lecturer in the university. On this channel, I do a number of stuff, but all these stuff I do, they are to make my subscribers and my viewers the best they can ever be. In this video today, I want to address a very important theory in sociology. Meanwhile, if you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Kindly go ahead and tap the subscribe button on your screen, or click the subscribe button on your screen right now to subscribe. If you have subscribed previously, thank you very much for staying tuned. I sincerely appreciate your support. Today, I will be addressing social action theory. Social action theory is one of the most fundamental theories of sociology. Social action theory is part of micro theories. I dropped a video on this channel on micro and macro sociology. I said a lot of things there. So, and as a follow-up to that, I did a video on ethno-methodology as a theory. So you can view that video. So today is social action theory propounded by Max Weber. Max Weber was a German sociologist. So Max Weber lived between 1864 and 1920. 1864 and 1920. But Max Weber made one of the most profound contributions to sociology. Or I can simply say Max Weber's contributions to sociology remain fundamental, definitive in terms of sociology, even in definition, like I will show you later. So I encourage you to view this video today. Many people believe theories are difficult, theories are boring, but I don't believe this. I've written books on sociological theories, and I've taught theories. I've been teaching theories in the university for quite a long time. So I see students struggle with theories. That's why I decided to make videos towards this direction. So it doesn't have to be very tedious for you, or boring, or difficult for you. So I want to simplify these theories so that you can benefit. So watch, like, comment, and share with others who may be having problems in theory. I dropped a video on how best to understand theories. You can also view that video. It's one of my early videos on this channel. So my sociological theories are very important. So social action theory fall within the broad spectrum of micro theories. Micro theories that are trying to understand interpersonal relationships. So it's micro theory, and it's essentially within the framework of subjectivity, subjective interpretation, and understanding of human action. If you watch the video on micro and macro sociology, you will understand this concept I'm using. So view that video. So my social action theory is within micro sociology, is within subjective sociology. It's also within interpretivist school of thought in sociology. That is, they want to interpret human action. You know, they're not trying to use objective narratives, but essentially subjective narratives, looking at it from the perspective of the actors themselves. And now you also have to know that social action theory is totally at variance, different against what we call social determinism, or societal determinism, or cultural determinism. I did a video on culture and society. You can view this. So this social determinism, or societal determinism, or cultural determinism believes society determines who people are. But social action theory believes human beings, social actors, are not robots. So society does not just whimsically determine who people are. People actually determine what society is ultimately. So social action theory is of the view that human beings are not robots in society. Society does not just impose action or livelihood or ways of life on them. Rather, people, through their collective actions, through their behaviors, actually make society. So society does not unilaterally make people. people through their collective action make society. And that's a social action. Now, listen to this very well. Social action or social actions are action um, that emerge or that take place as people interact in society. If an individual continues to behave, that is drama, but or soliloquy ultimately. But when people, two or more, begin to interact, act and interact, that becomes social action. Solo actions are not essentially social action. Solo actions are not essentially social action, except they are interpreted and understood as such. So social action theory considers action that involves more than one person, and as people communicate through their action. So so society then is an aggregate of human interaction, human behavior, and as people interact in this way, societies are formed and defined. Rather than society defining people, social action believes people also make society and define society based on the aggregation of their behavior in a way. So social action is also usually regarded as interactionist perspective or interactionist theory or interactionism, because the ultimate aim of social action is to interpret, to understand human action and interpret their actions through their interactions and as a form behavior. So people are also important. So people are not so just determined by society. So, and for people to create and to act in meaningful ways that can assist us to understand them, social action believe that people create meanings through their institutions. People create norms. I'll say drop videos on norms. People create norms, create values in that society and embed the norms, put the norms and values in their social institutions. Social institutions are created through interaction of people as they relate with their norms and values. I hope you understand the way I'm putting it. So I'm trying to break it down so you don't get confused. So people create values, they create norms, they create these norms and embed these norms and values in their social institutions. Institutions that they have developed on the account of their interaction. I did a video on basic social institutions on this channel. You can view that too, so you can understand what social institutions are. So they create these norms and values and embed them in their social institutions to regulate, to manage, to share meaning. Shared meaning is a major concept in social action, because these norms and values guide their behavior to the extent that they become commonly understood as they are embedded. So social institutions are structures through which people relate in society and to be able to make meaning. So people create society, people create institutions, people create structures. Don't confuse this with structural functionalism. No, structural functionalism is a macro theory. I will still drop a video on that. So, but the structures we are talking about here is interconnections, interconnectivities of actions as people relate in society. That's what we call structure. My action, your own reaction. As I continue to react, we share meanings through our institutions. Social institutions in sociology include 5 traditional: family, education, religion, economy, and politics. These are what we describe as traditional social institutions in sociology. But more new ones have been added to it. If you view my video on social institutions, you will see we have added peer group, social media, health system, or health institution, because this also assists society to rejuvenate itself. So, but sociologists, according to social action, we should be more involved in interpretative understanding of human actions. According to Max Weber, social action should be the central focus of sociology. That's why one of the most fundamental definitive definitions of sociology was given by Max Weber when he describes sociology as the science or social science that attempts the interpretative understanding of human behavior, of human action, to be able to project behaviors of people and consequences of those behaviors on society for us to understand social order. So that's how Max Weber describes sociology. And don't forget, I said Max Weber made one of the, among the most fundamental, most definitive contributions to sociology. So that's so, and for Weber, for social action, the belief is that human behaviors must be interpreted and can only be understood through subjective interpretation of such behaviors from the actor's perspective. That actions can only be understood when we look at these actions from the perspective of the actors themselves, not sociologists' understanding, but the understanding of the action from the perspective of the actors. That's why Max Weber said, putting yourself in the shoes of others, putting yourself in the shoes of the actors. That's empathetic understanding, unempathetic approach to understanding human action. Because Max Weber believes that society can be best understood and aggregated bottom up understanding. That is because the actions and inactions of people at the micro level that ultimately leads to that society that we are seeing. So Max Weber does not believe in the reification of society. Rather, he believes that society is only a creation of people, of actors, as they relate in their societies. And I think this is very profound. So people create society by their collective action and behavior through norms and values, which are flexible. Because as people continue to relate, to continue to interact, they continue to create norms and values. Norms and values continues to change. So norms and values are not rigid. They are not static. They are flexible. As people continue to relate, to act, to behave, norms and values continue to change. And this is very important because people who believe in cultural determinism seems to look at seems to look at culture or society as though they are so deterministic, they are so static. No, norms and values are flexible, and they continue people continue to give meanings to these norms and values, and as they continue to relate in their society. So people give meanings, and these meanings are moderated by norms and values, and on this will assist our understanding. So the basic concepts of social action theory, one of them is that sociologists should focus on action, and social action are action to which people attach meanings as they interact. If I relate with you, if we are interacting, as you are behaving, I'm interpreting your action so that I can understand. And as I'm interpreting your action, I'll be looking at motives of your action, meanings that you attach to your action, before I interact with you. If I discover that you are acting in a certain way that is false, but you want me to believe that it's true, I will look at why you are acting in a certain way, why you are acting like that. And that's my understanding and interpretation will determine how I also relate with you. So action becomes social when others interact with it. And many people to attach to their action is based on motives, and we have to understand the motives of action. That's why security experts do a lot of social action, even though they might not know that they are applying social action. Because you see security people talking about what's the motive of this crime, what's the motive of this criminal, so that they can have a lead to it. So it's very important for sociologists to practice empathy. Empathetic understanding simply means understanding the situation or the action or behavior through the perspective of the actor. So it's very important. Now, a very major concept in social action is the concept of verstehen. Verstehen is very important. You cannot understand social action without verstehen, which is a German word, which also gives us the understanding of the fact that understanding is key and must be taken very intentionally through empathetic and direct means. So, and we have direct understanding in the context of verstehen, and we have indirect understanding. Direct understanding means direct observation, the way you observe the action or the actor to be, and how you are using that to understand that individual or that group. While indirect just means empathetic observation from the perspective of the actors through the meanings and motives that the actors attach to their behavior. For Max Weber, this is key. This is actually the more important. So you can combine the direct based on your own observation, direct observation, within the confine of verstehen, and you can do indirect, empathetic observation, interpretative understanding of the action. And this is very important. A major one of the groundbreaking works of Max Weber was his work on Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism. When he's trying to prove empirically how people create society, they try to look at the Calvinists and their individual work ethic, and how that led to the creation of capitalism as a mode of production. He was trying to prove that it's not society that actually make people, but people individually in a group, behaving in certain ways will ultimately lead to the emergence of a particular form of society. And he demonstrated this through, in his book, the Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism. And this is very important for us to be able to understand that human behaviors are very key in moderating society. People say, these are the behaving society, that's why I'm behaving like that, or that's why people are behaving like that. Social action does not believe in that way. And so this Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism is a groundbreaking book by Weber to actually prove that people make society, and their norms and values, their ethics actually are very important. Then he also did a lot of work. Weber did a lot of work on bureaucracy. Bureaucracy as it's practiced today actually originated from the works of Weber when he's trying to look at the structure of society, to create structure through which human behaviors can be moderated. So he tested this through his works on bureaucracy. Even if you are in industry today, if you are a civil servant or you say civil service, people talk about bureaucracy. When they talk about bureaucracy, Weber did one of the groundbreaking works in bringing up bureaucracy as a form of organizing society. Don't forget sociology emerged during crisis in Europe, Industrial Revolution and the French Revolution, where there was no form of social organization. So this was when Weber did a lot of work and was trying to give structures to society. Talk about rational action, talk about structures, talk about institutions. Now let's go to the 4 types of social action, as I want to round up this video. 4 types of social. Weber said for us to be able to understand human behavior, we should understand their actions empathetically, subjectively, at the same time, through the types of action that are given to us. Number 1 is instrumentally rational action. Instrumentally rational actions are actions that people engage in through their behaviors to achieve a particular goal. They have something in mind they want to achieve, and they are acting in certain ways to be able to achieve that goal. That is instrumentally rational action. Then you have the value rational action, when people act in certain ways because of the value they hold there. For example, values of patriotism, values of hard work, like the Protestant ethics and the spirit of capitalism, values of honesty, and people act in certain ways. Values of integrity, people act in certain ways to protect these values. So you must understand. Sometimes it may not be rational if you look at the instrumentally rational action, but they are related. So, but it's just based on value rational action, to protect a certain value, to demonstrate a value. The number 3 is traditional action, when people act within the construct of their customs, belief system, tradition. So to some people that are essentially rational, instrumentally, they may believe traditional action doesn't make sense. Why are you believing that? But these people hold their tradition very hard. Then you have affectionate rational action. Affectionate rational action talks about the issue of emotions. When people act for emotional reasons, this is very common among people that are in love, or and the rest of it. So they just act, even though it may not be instrumentally rational to people. They say, why are you acting this way? Well, emotions are involved, so what are you going to do about it? So these are 4 statements that Weber gave us. So there are criticism against this social action theory. Some say Calvinism is not the best framework. Some say it undermines society. Some say the category of actions are not exhaustive enough. But in terms of strength, people believe that social action is very strong, it's very adaptable, it's very comprehensive, it's very empirical, it's very micro, it's very subjective, and it's very dynamic. So people believe, I love social action. I've used social action separately. Until I see you in my next video, kindly subscribe to this channel, tell others, and be your best.